See, my problem is I don't have my glasses on, so like, are you in focus? I can't tell. Hi everyone and welcome back. This week just started back university again. We stopped in December, had exams and Christmas and work, and now it's like so full on. So I've just been trying to focus on that this week. I was like, oh, I'm gonna do 2 videos a week and then I'm gonna like upload them, and that didn't happen and I'm sorry. But today I was going to talk about the books I read in January, just some general thoughts, like mini reviews, because I don't really want to do a big one about specific books that no one's really interested. So I thought, lots of mini reviews about some books. The first one I wanted to talk about is The Last of the Housemans by Stephen Beresford. It's a play about an ex-hippie who has been diagnosed with cancer, and basically her family come back to the house, and you know, it's like a nice family dynamic sort of play. In spite of the fact it's obviously about a really kind of serious and somber topic, it's actually kind of really funny. So this was published in 2012. And I've read it before. I do really like it. It had Rory Kinnear, Julie Walters and Helen McCrory. All three of them are fantastic. That was like a big reason that I bought the book, because I couldn't see the play. He's never really settled. He goes and like couch surfs, and he just sort of doesn't really have an aim. You know, he's really similar to his mum, who's just sort of a free spirit, go with the flow sort of person. He comes back to Judy, who is played by Julie. Judy is the one with the cancer, and he comes back to her house basically to help his sister Libby start cleaning it up and things, because they know she's going to die. So Judy is a bit bizarre. Like I said, she's a free spirit, and this really annoys Libby, who was played by Helen McCrory, because she's very serious and things, but she's also really like her mum in a lot of ways, where she doesn't really assume responsibility. She doesn't really have a big grand plan or anything. But yeah, Judy really annoys Libby. So Libby's daughter, Summer, she's like the stereotypical teenager, like whatever, hates her mum. There's Daniel, who trains in Judy's pool, who Summer really fancies but her mum ends up sleeping with. Awkward. And there's Peter, who kind of enables Judy's hippie, free spirit. You know, he'll sit and get drunk with her, but he's a doctor. So it's one of these ones, like there is a lot going on in the play, but there's also like nothing going on either. And it's like, it's a saddish play, but it's also like kind of joyful. I don't know, it's really, I don't know. I really like this play. It's not the first time I read it, but always one for if you're feeling a bit down, or you're just like, ugh, what's the point? I love reading this play, it just makes me so happy. So the next book I want to talk about is, spoiler alert, The Hero Dies, which I listened to on Audible. I didn't read, so really I'm cheating a wee bit. It feels wrong to me to be reviewing such a personal story and memoir, but I guess if people are choosing to put a story out there, then they will be open to hearing what people think of it. And it's just as well that I actually really enjoyed this book too. So Michael Azelio is a journalist who wrote a memoir about his kind of 13-year-long relationship with his late husband, who died of a form of neuroendocrine cancer. What I found odd about this book is obviously it's a really serious topic. It's obviously just not the sort of thing that is as easy to deal with for him. It would have probably really damaged him as well, but just the way he talks about it, you kind of find yourself laughing a bit. Not because it's funny what happened, but the way he tells the story is quite funny. Like, because although it's obviously a really sad story, it's not really a sad story. It's like, it's a really happy story with a horrible ending, because you can see how much they love each other and how much fun they had together over the years, among the bad things, which he does talk about very openly, and I really like that. I think it's transparent, it doesn't romanticise the fact that yeah, they had problems, and it's great just the way he talks about it. You can see the love there, really. There's very little that's like unique about this story though. Cancer affects a really large chunk of the population at some point in their life, and part of life is that we're going to lose loved ones, just the way it goes. But what does make this book quite special in my opinion is that Michael reflects on the highs and the lows of the relationship, and kind of how his perspective on these things have changed as his husband Kit starts to succumb to cancer and things. It's really well done. I think a lot of people didn't like this novel because, I don't know why, because they're silly, but no, I really liked it and I would recommend. The Audible was really good as well because it was Michael Azelio that done the narration of it, so yeah, I'd really recommend that book. This book, back to paper, is War Doctor by David Knott, and this is a medical memoir. I'm a really big fan of medical memoirs. I'm just about finished Aoife Abbey's 7 Signs of Life, which is really good, but this is like a league of its own. So this book it's just like so fantastically written, it's so good, and it's about basically a surgeon who he mostly works in London, but goes volunteer in war zones and disaster zones. Now, medicine it's an art that's really firmly rooted in humanity for sure. This book is jam-packed with humanity, and I don't know if that makes sense, but that is the best way I can describe it. I highlighted something in the preface I want to read to you because it's kind of important. I have travelled the world in search of trouble. It is a kind of addiction, a pull I find hard to resist. Now in this book there are loads of stories of David Knott's life in immediate danger, from meeting with a Taliban leader to working in a hospital stormed by jihadis. So it's hard to disagree with him. He does seem sort of addicted to that danger, but throughout the book you get a sort of sense of his selflessness and compassion, and you can tell there's a lot more to it than just, I don't know, a love of escaping death and an addiction to danger. It seems to me like he sort of embodies altruism, you know, he has a selfless concern for others, and he just wants the best for other human beings, and I think it's very natural to not want to see other people suffering. Despite the fact he's obviously faced some really, really horrible things in his time, you know, he's able to appreciate like the small things in life, and he also acknowledges that, you know, human beings are capable of horrible things and of destruction as well. I would say I wouldn't just recommend this book to like any wannabe medics out there, but of course you should read it. I think it's actually just a book for anyone remotely interested in humanity, and this book is really good for right now because obviously you're sort of seeing a lot of things in the news and you're like, ugh, and you're like, oh, I wish, you know, I was seeing more good news and things. This book is actually a really nice and timely reminder that human beings can do wonderful things. So I hope you enjoyed. I hope this has given you some nice book recommendations for the month. If you've read any of these, feel free to sound off below. or if you have any other recommendations that you feel like the good people of this small little bubble would appreciate, then also feel free to sound off below. I hope you're all staying safe, I hope you're all doing well, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!